to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This One's Wife, a brilliant January. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Well, here we are. We're now in February. Many of you will no doubt be delighted to see the back of January, which many people regard as the worst month of the year. For those in the Northern Hemisphere, it's long, it's dark. You may well be skint after the excesses of Christmas. You've pledged a dry January, which makes the 31 days seem closer to 93 days. It may well be the case that you've decided that you need to go on a diet also, which turns those 93 days into 186 days. It's a difficult month for many. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you may be glad that January is moving out of the way for similar reasons of fiscal difficulty, but also that it's been as hot as balls, and it might just be easing up a little as a consequence of movement into February. Either way, many people are pleased to see the back of January, and it's been a brilliant one for our favourite pair of idiots, Hank and Skank, Ginge and Whinge, the handler and the ginger poodle, This One's Wife and Ginger Bollocks, the Prince of Pink Pancakes. Sedan, Crazy Days and Nights, via the subreddit, saying This One's Wife, they use a full title, as you know I do not, has provided quite an entertaining summary of how January went for the Sussexes. The blind item states, the illiterate one and her husband thought he was a lock for a recording award. And then he didn't even get a nomination. Once again, that sense of entitlement from This One's Wife to commandeer the achievements of others, namely, oh, my husband's going to get a recording award. But it didn't happen. And you know why? He didn't get the award, and he didn't even get a nomination, because quite simply what they create is bollocks, and more people don't like them. According to the blind item, they also had a huge party planned to celebrate the issuing of the award. They still have not finalised the after party for the movie award things, who didn't want them there. Various of their staffers have fled. The football organisation said they didn't have room for them at the big game. Their favourite charity is a front for indiscriminate killings, rapes and sex trafficking, but they did manage to get to a premiere and pose with an enabler of a sex predator. What a great January for them it has been. This is a useful summary of how poor things are for the Sussexes. Add to that the increasing financial concerns and the lack of opportunities in the pipeline, although we have been treated to suggestions that there are things being created content-wise, we're still hearing nothing in respect of deals and opportunities from cosmetic giants and fish-on houses. And thus, the future looks rather bleak for the Sussexes. 2024 was meant to be the great rehabilitation. 2024 was meant to be when This One's Wife made a comeback. But of course, in order to come back, you have to have been there in the first place. And she hasn't been. But nevertheless, those who were instructed to handle her PR and the supine PR publications were all carrying the same, that 2024 would be year of This One's Wife, that she would come straight out of the gates kicking ass and taking names, that we would be subjected to a completely revitalised This One's wife, with a revamped image, that all of a sudden, in the space of a couple of weeks, people would somehow forget that she is a narcissist, that they would somehow forget that she's a grasping, unpleasant, self-centred, self-absorbed, lying reviser of history, that they would just put all of that to one side and say, I've forgotten about all of that, you know, it doesn't really matter. In actual fact, look at her. Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she kind? Isn't she empathic? Isn't she fragrant? Gosh, we're so fortunate to have her in this life, to have her in this world. Isn't it amazing how she's able to ensure that online safety is a priority for the children of the world? Doubtless, she'll have told us, I believe that children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way, not realising once again that she was plagiarising from someone else, as she stood there looking sanctimonious and telling us all of the things that we already knew. Yes, 2024 was meant to be the year that it all came together for this one's wife, and therefore, if that's the case, you would have expected that there would have been a strong start to 2024. But this has quite been the contrary. It has not been a brilliant January. The royal family don't want anything to do with them. They've been criticised for their silence in relation to the Princess of Wales undergoing abdominal surgery and the King undergoing prostate examination and surgery. They have been criticised with regard to their failure to speak out in relation to the African Parks scandal. They've been ridiculed for the ghoulish behaviours in association with the online safety hearing that took place in the Senate. They have not been invited to the Golden Globes. There's nothing coming in relation to the Oscars. The award, as Sedan talks about, didn't materialise. There have been no deals confirmed. There have been no sponsorships satisfied. There's no confirmation from Netflix that they want to renew the deal. Nobody's come in for her with regard to further podcasts. She continues to be criticised and slated in mainstream media, across social media, so much so that that downward spiral continues. Thus, where is this rehabilitation of 2024? The fact is, she can talk about it until the cows come home. She can spend X amount of dollars pumping out the PR puff pieces, but it still comes back to this. You can't polish this unflushable turd. She'll hang around, but people will just see her for what she is. Many identifying that she's a narcissist, and others just seeing her as utterly unlikable, an abject loser who won't live her life privately and shut the fuck up. Instead, she keeps trying to tell us that she is likable, that 2024 is going to be her year, that we should all get behind her and support her, that the hatred of her should end, that she is eminently likable, and yet there's no evidence to support any of that. And perhaps very much in keeping with what she is, the fact is that 2024 was meant to be a revitalised start for her, that January has continued to demonstrate what a loser she is and has continued in a similar vein to 2023. It isn't going to change. It's only going to get worse for her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.